everybody, this is Elisa with NatureBox Pet Emporium. We're here today to talk to you a little bit about Crested Geckos and Crested Gecko morphs. Most traits in Crested Geckos are line-bred or polygenic, meaning it's not a simple recessive. So with our ball pythons, we talked about recessive and codominant traits. Well, most traits with Crested Geckos, it's a little bit more of a toss-up than that. Some people describe it as a box of chocolates method, but we're refining them to the point where we can pretty reliably know what we're going to get. So these two geckos here would be considered, high-end, extreme Harlequin. You could call them high cream, drippy dorsal even. All these terms that have kind of sprung up in the last couple of years to describe all these traits in Crested Geckos that breeders are aiming for. But I figure we'll start with the basics. So good old flame Crested Gecko. So here we have a flame Crested Gecko. Zoom on in. So this pattern right down the dorsal, that's considered a flame. Simple, but beautiful. That is the classic, that is one of the first morphs of Crested Geckos, was the flame. So we notice that this little guy, we have a lot of questions about Harlequin. This little guy has some patterns on the side, and a lot of people would ask, would he be considered Harlequin? Maybe. Generally, they're considered Harlequin if they have a high amount of pattern on the sides and pattern on the legs. So depending who you talk to, that little guy could be considered Harlequin, but he doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of pattern on the legs, so most people would just describe him as a flame.
What are you doing?
Moving on to our next gecko here. So here we have a Pinstripe Crested Gecko. So Pinstripe refers to these line of pins down the dorsal. So this is Lucy. Lucy is, here's your gecko line. So her parents were actually imported from Europe. So she would be considered a higher end Crested Gecko. So her line has been refined to have nice full pins. You see there's no broken spots. The pins go all the way down. They're nice and thick. So that's generally considered a desirable trait in your Pinstripe Crested Geckos. Whereas if we grab one of our babies here, we can see a partial Pinstripe. So this little guy, alright, zoom on in. Oh, look how cute he is. But you see how the pins are broken right along the back. So since he doesn't have two complete lines of pins, he's considered a partial pinstripe. The thing about partial pinstripes is if they come from good lines, they can absolutely throw fantastic full pinners. And this little guy is actually pretty cool. He would almost be considered a quad stripe too, but a little bit of an imperfect quad stripe. So that little line right on the side gives it the appearance of 1, 2, 3, and 4 lines, and that's what they call the quad stripe. So you start to get a mix of all these traits in a lot of these geckos. You call it partial pinstripe, quad stripe, perhaps even Harlequin. Alright, so our next trait we're going to look at, assuming I can find this guy, is dalmatian. Ah, yes, come on out. So these guys, again, we get a little bit of a mix of traits, but these guys are dalmatians for obvious reasons. They have dalmatian spots. So this is Indian Diablo. And you can see she has some nice pink base color You know, so she could be called perhaps a red bicolor Dalmatian, whereas Mr. Indy here would be more of a red brindle Dalmatian. And then the brindle refers to that pattern he has in the background. He doesn't just have one color, he has yellows and pinks and... Alright, well, we've seen quite the variety of Crested Gecko morphs. We've seen flames, we've seen harlequins, we've seen brindles, pinstripes, partial pinstripes, Dalmatians. You know, there's more even that we could touch on, because you can mix and match all those different traits. You can mix and match them with different base colors. You can get yellows and pinks and reds and tans and browns and blacks. So you can really, you know, you can really just have fun with it. That's part of what makes Crested Geckos so great, is the fact that the ability to mix and match is there. You know, we turned the wild, solid, just olive, tan Crested Gecko into all these different just pieces of living artwork. So I hope you appreciated this video. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends. Thank you.